Gender. Thank you so much. I love today's topic. Our guests, my frequent fan Uga Chaka recommended that I should reach out to you and invite you onto the live.
He's so nice. He's been on my live a couple of times as well. That guy is a nice one.
Yeah.
He always apologized that he's on the live, but he really should not do that.
It's his shtick. It's the thing that he does.
Yeah.
Oh. Hey, everybody who's just coming in. Today's topic is, I thought we'd get ourselves a bona fide European from Sweden himself, Jenders from Jenders Gaming. Gender, we ask this question every time. When did gaming creep into your life, and then when did you decide to start making content?
Gaming has more or less always been a part of my life. I have been gaming pretty much everything, all the way back to old Nintendo, to cards, to these really old little board games, where you just move a little piece around and roll a die.
Okay, so give me an example. Like what is an earliest game you can remember?
I know a lot of people are gonna scream out loud, but it's probably Monopoly.
Monopoly. That's fine.
But we also have the classic I don't know what it's called in English. It's where you go in Africa and you're trying to find a diamond. Is it called like the Lost Diamond or something? Maybe
I don't know that game. I'll have to find it out. Stream, do you know this game about trying to find a lost diamond in Africa? Like, what year is it from?
Den förlorade diamanten. That's the Swedish name, the Lost Diamond. Yeah. It's a really common game. I think, I don't know what year, I don't know. It's been around as long as I know. So,
well, that is amazing. So, on your journey, you've always had games around you. When did you decide this was going to be your thing? Like, this is how I'm going to spend my time. Like, were you like too cool in like primary school in Sweden or like university? Like, when did you decide like this is how I'm going to dedicate my life?
I think when I really got into it, like when I really started to playing board games, proper board games.
The Star of Africa. Somebody does know.
It's called the Star of. Okay. In Swedish, it's like the Lost Diamond, but that probably it. Yeah, it could be.
Oh, that's amazing! I have not played or seen the Star of Africa game. Hopefully, it's not filled with like blood diamonds and cultural appropriation. But sure, it's an old game.
No, it's not. It's not. It's a problem. It's a nice little. Cool bit. You need a visor to go there and everything. It's a great little game.
That's awesome.
But I think when I started to do board games, like for real, probably 9 years ago, 8, 9 years ago, and
8 years, 9 years ago. Yeah. Let me think. All right, so we're around 2015 at that time. What was the hotness for 2015? Scythe was really big in 2015.
Scythe was really big. Yeah, it was. I think Zombicide was also one of like the first where I really started to think that board games were quite cool.
Ooh, we fooled you, Jenders.
You did. Give me miniatures in the hand, zombies, everything. Oh, I think that was like I got really hooked, and then we have Hero Quest, but I played that when I was younger, and kind of forgot about it, and then tried it again when I was older, and got back to it that way.
Okay, so when did you decide that you wanted to start doing content on the regular?
The thing is, I've been doing YouTube and content before. I had my own little radio show. I did a show about metal. I interviewed metal bands and went to concerts.
Swedish death metal? Like kitty metal? Like, there's a lot of flavors of metal. Like, are we talking like Cannibal Corpse or Sepultura or like, what are we talking?
I've had the pleasure to be in the same room as Cannibal Corpse. Yes. I have actually. But we did everything. We did lighter metal to really, really, really hardcore metal.
Wow.
So I kind of had like I had that in the back of my mind that I wanted to do something again because I had like a break for a couple of years where I did nothing. I had small kids. I didn't have time. And then one day,
good. You're being a good papa. That is amazing.
You need to take care of the kids, and it takes time. You have to be there.
It does.
Yeah. So when they got a little bit older, I felt like, you know what, I need to do something more now. So one day I just sat down and I read a rule book, and I kind of read it out loud. And that's when I started to think, I should do this. Why not?
You have a great accent. You're multilingual. Like, how many languages do you speak, Jenders?
3. I have Swedish, and I have English, of course. And then I have jag talar dansk. What language was that? Jag talar dansk. Denmark?
Oh, Danish? You speak Danish?
Yes, Danish, my friend.
All right, so since you know Danish, are you able to like squeak by in German?
No. I get nothing. I understand absolutely nothing. No.
No? All right.
Norwegian I can do. That's okay.
Okay. Well, that's amazing. Like Europeans, it's very easy, like just educationally to be polyglots. Like speaking of like, because today's topic is the difference between European and Western board game culture, right? So if you're going to, you only need to speak probably at most 3 languages in the Western Hemisphere to get by. English, Spanish, like is going to get you more. And depending if you go north to Canada or you go south to Brazil, you've got Portuguese versus French.
Yes, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
Right, but you're usually not doing both. Like that's got everything covered. But Europe has so many millions of languages.
Yeah, we do. But what most of us know English. Most of us. I know some Germans have a little bit hard time with it, and Spanish sometimes, yeah. But most people know English.
Germany is so important for European board game culture, and that is why it comes up. Like, if you're big into the board game hobby and you're European, you better speak either German or English.
It's really those two. It is.
Yeah, you got everything. You can get almost everything if you speak one of those 2 languages. One of those 2 languages has got you covered.
It's true. But the German market is huge.
It is insane. I don't think that it is very clear to Americans how much per capita Germans spend on board games in a year.
Massive amount.
It is massive. Now, what is Swedish board game culture like?
Dead. No. There's nothing. It's just me and.
I thought you were going to say it's all Kingdom Death Monster, because Kingdom Death Monster is one of the most metal games. It is the most metal game that you can like.
100%. 100%. No, but I would say that the Swedish board game market is still kind of mild, but it is growing, and since the pandemic, Corona, it has been growing more rapidly.
Okay.
Before Corona, it was not that fast, but then something happened. I guess people were sitting at home and understanding that it was actually fun to do something together instead of just sitting with the phones, and that's where it started.
It is estimated. Sorry to interrupt. It's estimated that gaming doubled in size during the pandemic. Like,
I believe that.
Yeah. It's crazy. And the largest group of those are women.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's so cool. Women gamers. Well, at least in the United States, people who identify as gamers, just like statistically, it's like 51% women now.
Really?
Yeah.
That's quite cool. I did not expect that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a difference. It's different. There's a real like difficult time to connect like media with where gamers are. and there's a little bit of disconnect with that. How does board game media function in Sweden?
Well, it's basically me.
Yeah.
Then we have Ordinary Board Gamer. You know who that is? Dennis, Ordinary Board Gamer.
I have to meet this person now.
Yeah, you have to check him out. And I think there's like one more. And that's
oh my
about
God.
it. It's really.
I know
really,
a third
really
of all Swedish media for board. That's amazing.
I'm so honored to do. But we have this thing every Christmas. Sweden announces this year's Christmas gift, the biggest gift. This is what you should buy to somebody. And last Christmas, it was actually board games, or like games that you can sit down and play analog with families.
Now, who is doing this announcement? The government, the prime minister, your favorite TV station? Who's giving this announcement?
Depending on who you ask, everybody. But there's a specific group that goes in and analyzes it and checks out and see what should be this year's best Christmas gift. And their motivation was kind of like, we should spend more time together. We should throw away the phones, put away the computer, take up a little game on the table, and spend time actually talking to each other. And I thought that was an absolutely epic thing to do from the Swedish government or whatever it is.
Yeah, well, like Ugo Chaka says, this is how they get you. I'm glad he's paying attention. I agree 100%, Ugo Chaka. All right. So you're remote in the far north where, you get 2 days a year. You've got summer, which is 1 day, and winter, which is the rest of the year.
Yep. That's it.
And you grew up in board gaming, but you said board gaming wasn't such a thing. So tell me about the journey, like how do you find games in a board game like country? Like, who do you play with? Do you do a lot of solo games?
I do a massive amount of solo games. I really do. But it's not that I don't have that many people to play with, because I actually have a lot of people that wants to play with me because of the YouTube and Instagram and everything. So that's not it, but I actually enjoy to sit down by myself and go out on a little journey, to just shut down the TV, the kids are in bed, the wife is away, I can sit down and I can go out on my own little venture. So I actually enjoy it. But besides that, I also have a play group that I play with every other week.
That's good.
Yeah. And they're also on my YouTube. We do playthroughs together as well. So they were there as well. Super great. It's really fun. But we also have board games, like, I don't know the word, but like small communities where they get together and they sit down and they play games.
Yep. Do you guys call them clubs? Do you call them? Yeah,
exactly. Board game clubs.
Do they meet in certain pubs or bars, or do they meet at, certain locations? So for the one, like, are there community centers that they meet at? Like, how do people get together? Are there like public squares, cafes? What's the number one way for people to play?
There's a bunch of difference here in the city I live in. They have an actual location. It's their own board gaming location. Okay. So there's a proper little place for them to be. Same thing in Malmo down there, the bigger town in Malmo. They also have quite a big place, actually, where they can meet up a couple of times a week.
What is this? Describe this place. Is it a business? Is it like, what is it?
They do pay like a little fee, but it's super tiny. Otherwise, I know that the government goes in and gives them a lot of money so they can keep on going and invite people. And they have different get-togethers for, like, some evenings it's just for kids, some evenings it's just for role players. So they really have specific themes every week.
So it's like a community event that's subsidized. Is it like the athletics clubs that you guys have? Is it sort of like that?
Yeah, you could say that. It's kind of like a sport, but they meet up and they play board games. And they have their own forums on the phone with a plan ahead, and then they meet up. It's lovely. But then I know that some people have actually, in a smaller town, they have actually started their own little board gaming club. So they have a little hookup on the phone where they can meet and talk, and then they go home to each other and meet up there. So it's a bunch of different ways. And we
That's
do,
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, go
and
ahead.
we do have a few board gaming cafes as well. I know there's one in Malmö, there's one in Växjö, but there's not too many of them. I think there's like 3 in the whole of Sweden.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, it's not that big. No.
Okay, so that is a huge difference. All right, so board gaming culture in the United States has multiple ways of like on ramps into it and ways people find themselves. Like families or individuals hosting game night is probably the most common. Game stores hosting a board game night is super common. Conventions and board game cafes. These are the main areas that people, and then of course we have pub crawls that are board game based, where different bars or meetup groups from the meetup website, they all get together based on that kind of shenanigans. So
Really?
yeah,
So that would not happen in Sweden. I would
why?
not. No, it would not. I would never get an invitation from someone saying, you know what, we should go to the pub and play board games. It would never happen. Never.
Is like
And
bar culture too weird from
it,
board game
yeah,
culture, or are
yeah,
board
it
games too
is.
expensive and you wouldn't want to put them in the?
We don't want to bring them next to glasses. No, no, but it's just that you in the pub. That's where you watch sports. It's manly men
Ah,
watching sports, drinking beer. Board games are not a part of that culture in Sweden. Same thing
oh,
that if I'm going home to somebody for like a dinner or something, or just a normal get together, you will never see a board game. Almost never. I mean, it happened once, and that was just because they knew I liked board games. Yeah,
so dinner's in this event. The pub is for football. It's for all right. So you guys have hockey and football slash soccer. What
soccer.
else
Yeah,
is big? Is it curling? Do you guys televise curling or not so much?
a little bit, and tracks and sports is also a little bit big, but it's 98% soccer, I would say. And then we have like hockey seasons, and that's it. Yeah.
Well, Sweden has a great Olympic team. If it's Winter
Yeah,
Olympics, you guys show up.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
they're yeah.
We do. It's not that big in Sweden, unfortunately. And
Okay,
if you
so
tell someone, I mean, if I tell another male, mostly in my own age, that is not into board games, like I like to roll die on my spare time and play with board games, they're like, something's wrong with you. Why would you
well,
do that?
well, something can be wrong with you. You're on my live with me, and you can like board games. They're not mutually exclusive. They don't indicate one does not necessarily indicate the other.
Oh, yeah.
Like Uga Chaka, like he vouches for you. This is clearly something amiss if that's the case.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, so that uh, it's a very much like pioneering board game culture kind of area. Like it's
Yeah.
not like normalized like it's in Germany,
No.
and it's not like as openly socially acceptable as it is in Canada or the U.S.
No, no. Here it is. It's still considered to be geeky or nerdy. It is.
Oh, it is
If,
here,
if
but
you,
we embrace
but
that.
yeah, I know. I do too. But it's like if I meet other men in my age, they will ask me what soccer team do I cheer on, and then I tell them I don't watch soccer. I play board games, and they get shocked, and that's where the conversation ends. It's over.
So linguistically, the way nerds indicate that they do not follow sports is they look at somebody dead in the face and they go, "I do not do the sports ball."
Oh, this soccer you're talking about, I have no idea.
Yeah, like all games for nerds, if they're going to be dismissive of sports, is they refer to them as the sports ball. Oh, I don't follow the sports ball. No, 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 no,
Yeah.
no, no.
Yeah. Are we
Okay.
talking Blood Bowl or?
Yeah, Blood Bowl, so good, such a good game.
Yeah,
All
it's
right,
good.
so let's shift a little bit now that we sort of level set. Okay,
Yep.
um, gaming conventions you've gotten to go to. Have you come to this side and seen Gen Con? Have you gone to Essen?
Essen, yes. I've been to Essen twice, and I've been to a couple. I've been to one in Denmark and also some in Sweden. But you can't really compare them because they're like there's a huge gap between them. I mean, Essen is enormous, super big, and the ones that are in Sweden, they're like held in schools.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, it's
There
okay.
are so many conventions of all sizes in the United
Yeah,
States. You
yeah,
can probably, in any given 4 hour driving radius, and that's not, 4 hours of driving is casual for the people of the United States, depending on
yeah,
where you're from.
yeah.
4 hours of driving, you can find a convention every weekend, every year. Like,
Really?
you can also do that in the UK. If
Yeah,
we want
yeah,
to
yeah. I
include
know
the
that.
people of the UK in gaming culture, we
Yeah,
can. Slightly, they're a little more Western. So for folks who don't know, Essen is on my bucket list. Essen has more than twice as many people that go to Gen Con. So Essen is over 120,000 people now. Genders, do you
yeah.
have any specific number on that?
I can't remember, but I think last year was like 125 or something. It was really big. It was among the biggest. It was
It is.
so
It is.
much people.
It is the largest gaming convention, strictly
Yeah,
gaming convention in the world. If you talk about nerd conventions in the United States, you're looking at Comic Con
yeah,
is now bigger, like San Diego being one of the largest. You're looking at like a whole city descends on a city
yeah, yeah,
at that point. But what folks might not know that despite the fact that it is twice the size as far as people going, it is 7 times the size as far as show floor space.
yeah.
All
It's
right.
huge. It's
It's
huge.
huge now, and
Really
I've been
huge.
trying. Genders, I need you to tell me if I'm in the right ballpark. I've been trying to tell people this is the opportunity. Like Essen is where you can go to a publisher's mega size booth and try out the game, and then go out to the next one and try out the game. It's
Yeah,
all show floors, and there's no like people putting on events hardly. There's no like it's you play the game, you buy the game. It's German efficiency at its utmost. Like you play the
yeah.
game, you buy the game. You play the
That's
game, you
it.
buy the
Yeah,
game.
that's it. Oh, but that is pretty much it. I mean, you go to the booth, you might meet someone, talk, buy a game, and then you can sit down and try it, and that's pretty much it. There's not like they
Yeah,
don't have
yeah.
shows or anything like that. It is booth for the ones that have created the game. You can sit down and you can talk to the designers, you can get tips and tricks, and you can start to play, and that's it. It's 100% focused on, like you said, try the game, buy the game.
Yeah, and it's for their own specific space.
Yeah,
Like you're not
yeah,
going to see other people at other pieces. Occasionally, you will if they've localized the game. Like you might see the American publisher and the German localized person there. But yeah, the people. This is my booth. This is my game.
yeah, yeah. That's pretty much it. Yeah, and then you of course have like Kickstarter is there and to promote their business and so on as well. You have them as well. But otherwise, it is pretty much go in, try the game, buy it, or move to the next booth.
Um, question:
Yeah.
do role playing games and those companies go to Essen, or is it strictly board games or miniature games?
No, I have seen role plays as well, but there were not that many. But there
Okay.
were a few. There were like I think I saw like two maybe. So there's not that many.
Well, it's hard because you normally people sit down to play the game, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sitting down to play a role playing game is 4 hours. Like,
How are you gonna do that? No, no, you're not gonna do that.
yeah, you're not going to do that for
No,
like a small purchase, which is one book, right?
no.
Yeah, yeah, you're not
Then
you're
you
not
might
going to be
be
able
there
to
for
do
2 days and you spend a half day. Oh no, no, you won't do that.
it. All right. So if you're going to Essen, Genders, like, what is your expectation for how many booths you will go? Like how far is the walk from the hotel? How do you eat? Like, what is the feelings of an Essen?
Oh, it's absolutely epic, actually, I have to say. But for me, I was there for like, I am a content creator. It is my purpose. So I went there to interview creators, to interview publishers, designers, and so on. So I
Did
met.
were you good? Did you set appointments with everybody and
Yeah.
saying,
Oh yeah, yeah,
oh my God, that's great.
yeah, yeah. I booked. I think I had booked from the start. This was my second time I was there. So I told myself, you know what? I'm not gonna book that much. I'm gonna take because the first time I booked quite a lot. So I think I booked like 5 appointments per day. We were there 3 days.
Oh my
So five
gosh.
appointments. Yeah, it was massive. So 5 appointments per day, but it ended up being like 10 appointments per day instead. Because people were like pulling in you and like, oh, you gotta come here and see this game and check this out, and oh, I've seen your channel, you need to try my game. So it's super fun. The problem is that it is really big. So when you plan, you almost need to plan that you are in one area during one day, and then in another area another day. And so because moving back and forward, it will take you a long time. It will.
No, like I'm serious. Like it's 7 Gen Con halls. Like for folks who are tuning in, like it is
Huge.
massive, and then there's
Huge.
7 of them, and just one is just enormous.
There were one point where I was moving to from like one side of one part to the other, and it took me about 15 minutes. And that was not a lot. I mean, if I could fly, it would have taken me 30 seconds. Because the sheer amount of people, so much people.
You didn't want to tell people, you didn't want to show people that you could fly. So I understand why you held back a little bit.
Keep it low, keep it low.
Yeah, you're like, hey, we're here for the games, not me. You know. That's amazing. So you did Essen as a content creator and did how many days is Essen? Is it 3, 4, 5?
3 days for like the public, but I think there's one day before where content creators could come and just walk around and speak and meet and greet.
You should have done that. Did you do
I
it?
should have done that. Yeah, that would have saved me a lot of time. But it's absolutely great. If you can go to Essen, go to Essen.
Have you ever been to the city when it's not to have the convention going on? Is this like its claim to fame? Like,
No, I've never been in that part of Germany if it's not for Essen.
you know, there's so many weird parts of Germany that I want to like hang out for their weird I loved German industrial music. Like I want to go to Hamburg and see where the Beatles hung out but I'm like, I don't know.
No, and we're not that far from Germany, but we have the same way of thinking. You know, we should go to Germany. No, it just never happens. I don't know why.
I know in particular, German tourists in Sweden are terrible. And do you ever feel like you need to revenge yourself upon German tourists when you're in?
No,
For folks who don't know, this is
this
a particularly weird European phenomenon. If you've ever gotten to travel Europe, you're going to notice a couple of things. Number one, if someone is really loud, their chances are to be if they have any kind of accent, they're probably from the United States. If they're a little bit quieter, they're from Canada. But if they're loud and they have some sort of Commonwealth accent, they're going to be Australian or Irish. Like these are the 4 loudest people on the planet, and you can see them any space that you go. Okay, but the Germans do this really obnoxious thing. They feel like if they are in holiday, they can talk at any time and do whatever they want because they're on holiday. Like I was in a theater, like I paid for seats to a theater production of something in Prague, like not even one of like the shoebox theaters in Prague, like one of the nice ones.
Yeah.
And this row of German tourists, this entire 16 that were together, they just started talking to each other at full volume. And it literally, the people on the stage were glaring at them, and they did not stop.
No, they don't care. No.
They don't care. German tourists, like, I love Germans except for when they leave their country. I think it's like historically that's actually everybody's feelings. German tourists are a real problem. They're a real problem.
There's a point there. Yeah.
There's a few points there. There's definitely a few. Okay. So, are you gonna make it to? Obviously, if you've done Essen and you've been doing UK Game Expo is your next one. Like, have you gone?
No, I have not gone, but I am not going to Essen this year, unfortunately. But I am thinking that I might go to UK instead because, when I've done Essen twice, and now I want to see something else. And I have heard that UK is a little bit different. That there it's more about meeting up and greeting up, and it's not that much buying and selling focused.
It's somewhere between Western conventions and Essen. It's a lot more like sit down, play the thing, and buy the thing, but it certainly has a lot more elements to draw people in. That is what I've heard. It is also on my bucket list to try to make that happen. The Scottish one, I want to go to that one because those are easy for me. I want to get beaten up as a tourist by Scottish and the locals, so that would be amazing. Okay, so in the United States, we also have something called a Relaxicon.
Relaxicon, okay.
A Relaxicon, okay. The PAX series of conventions, which are all like PAX Unplugged is like 50,000 people. It is a 50,000 person Relaxicon. Do you know what that format for conventions is?
I have no idea, but I see in front when I see it in my head, I see a bunch of people in like couches just relaxing.
So
reading books.
All right, so obviously the premier convention, gaming convention, obviously not nerd convention, is Gen Con for the Western Hemisphere, and it's super event driven. That means you buy a badge for Gen Con, and then you buy tickets for the games you want to play in. Okay, or you set aside time and go play games in the demo hall or at the demo library. Okay. And because different people are running their own events and so forth, and you can get them, but usually everything is on a clock. It's scheduled. Like, this is the thing. Now, but a Relaxicon, there's hardly any of it. So like PAX Unplugged is like, they have a massive game library and everybody is coming and going as they want. Like, you take a game out of the library, you put this sign on your table that says you're looking for players, and you invite people to play games with you.
That sounds cool, actually. I like it.
PAX Unplugged is really good, and Philly is a world-class food city. It is very different than buy. I mean, certainly a lot of that does happen at PAX Unplugged. I think it's a great show. But there's no pressure to do anything at PAX Unplugged.
I like the sound of that, actually.
It's wander and just explore gaming at your own leisure, where I like to say God made Gen Con to test the faithful. Like, it is, you will overschedule yourself.
Yeah.
And it is on rails. And so that is definitely the flavor of that.
But I would say Essen is the opposite of a Relaxicon in that case. Because, I mean, you feel the pressure of doing everything. Because there's so much you need to keep up all the time.
And you can't possibly do everything.
No, you can't.
There's just no universe where you can do 7 Gen Con halls of sit down and play. And only 3 days? That's ridiculous.
Impossible, impossible. Just to meet the people you want to meet is hard.
No, yeah, it's insane. So coming up, different conventions have grown at different sizes over the year. For a number of years, Origins Game Fair was competing for the #2 slot of gaming conventions in the United States. All right. It was home to the Pokemon World Championships at one time. Okay. And that drew all like, but that event split off from it. Origins had a number of things. So Origins is a fun size and is coming up next week. But Origins is a 5-day long convention.
5 days.
It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday to Sunday. The only other like conventions that's like that in the United States is Kubla, and that is Thursday through Monday, Memorial Day.
Really?
Yeah, and you have so much time as like a game publisher. You give everybody the full game demo. You hear everybody's life story. You can do absolutely everything at Origins. Yeah. So there's a number of other conventions. Standard is 4. Now, since you love miniatures, the world's premier miniatures convention is in Chicago. When are you going to come to Adepticon, Jenders?
Oh, I would love to come. Can you buy me a ticket? I would go now.
You should. We should think about it. All right. So, all right. Guess how much the average spend in the hall, in the publisher hall, one attendee spends any given year at Adepticon. This is my favorite factoid to share.
I don't even dare to guess. It's probably...
What's the trend? Like, you guys are on the euro, right, or no?
Yeah, we're euro, but
what's the dollar to euro currently?
I think it's kind of this. I think euro is 10.50 to Swedish crowns, but I don't know what it is to US.
I think I
can say US as well.
I think it's dollars. I think it's a $1.2 to every euro roughly right now. Okay, so I'm going to give you that number, and then I'm going to tell you the number in dollars, and then you can tell me. Okay, what's your guess? It's a miniatures convention. The average spend. If anybody is here on the live, have heard me quote this before. I will do a shout out to anybody who shares the number if they remember from previous lives. Yeah, chat. Can you help Jenders out?
$800? No, that's too little, isn't it?
Oh, you're so close. It's $850.
It's $850. Okay, yeah.
Per attendee.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's a massive amount of money.
That's the best one. So what's that number for Essen?
I don't know. Do you know it?
No, I want you to know it. You have to find out this number for me.
No, I have no idea. I could definitely...
Like, you know, they found out the number obviously because of tax reasons. You take the number of attendees divided by the total amount of money that was taxed. Boom, you get the thing. That's how, because they have to say, and so that is a massive amounts of money. So that means those, like $850, those like 6,000 people generated massive amounts of money.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
On small plastic men and women.
And monsters. Don't forget monsters like zombies and other things. We need these in our lives.
We do. They're important.
So, for conventions for you, on your list, you should try to make it to those.
But definitely. That's the problem with living in Sweden. It is that we're quite far away from any other big convention than Essen. Because the other ones that are like in Sweden and them, they're not that big. They're quite small and they're local and there's not. We also have like the geek events, but then there's cosplay and everything. It's not just board games.
Magic events do make it close to you. Like
Yeah.
I think MagicCon Amsterdam is coming up. Like
Yeah,
how hard is it for you to get to Amsterdam?
it's like 6-7 hours maybe.
Drive or
No.
fly?
Drive.
Okay.
Fly would be a little bit less, but still a lot.
Like, how do you like? What's the easiest? Do you take rail? Do you drive? Do you take a boat? Can you take a boat? That's exciting to me.
Well, we can take the car, and then we can actually take a boat between like Sweden and Germany and drive through. But the way we used to do it is just drive from the south of Sweden through Denmark and then just right down.
Okay, that's cool.
Great line.
Yes. But for your bucket list, I would definitely say Adepticon and PAX Unplugged are different experiences.
Adepticon, yeah, I would love to go to. Also, Origin, I would love to go there.
Origins is fun, but I think you might be like Origins is only like 10,000 people, right?
Oh, cool.
But it's it's Gen Con size with a seventh the people.
Okay.
And so it makes a very fun week. Like if you can go on the cheap, it's really, really, really cool. But if you've got to get bang for your buck, do you know the game Clask? That is that where is that made? Yes.
Do I know it?
Yes.
It's made in Denmark.
Why don't you they have booths? Like you should come with them as part of their entourage.
We should go with them. I've actually played Clask against the one that created it at a Asmodee event in Denmark.
Yeah, if you want to make that happen, I know Danny Standering does a lot of work for them. You should come.
Yeah, I'm all in. I should write them, definitely. I should definitely write them.
That's like the biggest advertisement ever. You literally just had it right there.
It's right here. I love it. That game is great for kids, for elders. It's a perfect game.
It's sort of like soccer. It's a little bit like hockey.
Plus, I use the box to put my camera on when I film.
100%. 100% that's the case. Okay. So today's topic, of course, has been the difference between a European and Western board game culture. My amazing guest has been Jenders, one of the top 3 board game channels in all of Sweden. Amazing content creator himself. Yes, death metal DJ. All right. Do you have any questions? Like, I probably go to anywhere from 10 to 14 conventions in a year. Do you have any questions that you've wanted to know about me as like a small indie American publisher, or about board game culture that you see that flummoxes you? Like, how does this happen on that side of the world?
I would like to know if board gaming, I mean, just being a board gamer, is common in the States. Because for us, when we see the States, it seems like everybody are board gamers. Is it true?
More so now than ever.
Really?
Yeah.
So when you come home to somebody, when you come home to somebody at dinner, they will play board game.
Yeah. So here's. Let me tell you the transition. Okay. So males are going to play like sports, right?
Yeah.
All right. So in the United States, the not only do you play sports, right, or watch it, then you play the console game of it.
Yeah.
Is that the same in Sweden or no?
No, but pretty much, yes, that is. You play FIFA and soccer and
Yeah, right. If you play that, all right. If you do that, then you probably do a first-person shooter, right?
Yeah.
So those two things, right? And then that's how we get them. Genders.
Snap them in.
Like as soon as they look like as soon as they want to like shoot aliens instead of like historical figures or right or like Magic the Gathering is so pervasive here that people will pick that up, and Pokemon will pick that all up. And so we start gamers very, very, very young. Okay. Also, we are now to the point where gamers are raising third generation of gamers, right? Like Gen Con is on its 50 plus years old.
Damn.
How old is Essen, Genders?
I have no idea. I don't know. But I know that now that you say that's a good point, because I think, I mean, if I look like at my parents or their parents, there were no board gamers.
Right.
So this, like the people in their 40s, 50s, they might be like the first proper board game generation in Sweden. You have a point.
Yeah, and you will create more board gamers, right?
Yeah, yes. I have to. It's my
duty. Like your tribe of people.
Yeah. That's a great point.
So with there for example, like in the Twin Cities alone, there's more than the Twin Cities metro is like 2.6 million people. And in 2.6 million people, we have more than 8 board game stores. Okay?
No.
Then, yeah. So, like, if you go to St. Cloud, which is like 500,000 people, they have 5 board game stores. Okay?
No.
So servicing that many people, like, how many stores do you need, like, to make it happen? Here's one of the reasons that board game culture is so big. All right.
Yeah.
I talk about this occasionally, and I would assume Sweden is better about this than 40 years. The answer is 40 years to your question. 1983.
Oh, yeah, they celebrated it. They celebrated when I should have known that. They celebrated 40 years last year. Yeah, yes.
That's amazing. Third place theory states that a person does not feel complete unless they have an environment where they're recognized as an individual rather than a person in a hierarchy. So, for example, that means I'm not a person, I'm a dad, or I'm not a person, I'm a boss, right? So when you could go to a pub or an environment where you can just be one of the people is necessary for a person to feel complete, okay? And that could be solo board gaming for you. You can produce, I feel complete because I have a life where I am just me, not my responsibilities.
Yeah,
right?
True.
Event culture in the U.S. is growing. So, like, all these conventions, there have been a couple of conventions to be rollback or aren't anywhere, but as a whole, like, the number of conventions and the people attending each conventions are going up. Yeah. And that's because Americans are massively overworked.
You need a break.
Yeah, so like the average work week for a salaried employees in the United States is like 50 hours a week.
That's crazy. Yeah.
It's 50 hours, okay? Yeah. And the average, and they have to do this also, and probably have, and their partner also has one of these jobs. And this means that the average cost of daycare for one child for 1 year last year was $24,000.
Damn. That's a lot of money. For one family. For one child.
For one family, so like especially now, people are like literally choosing, I'm going to quit my job because I can't afford it because I've got to. But this fits into our board gaming discussion, and the why of it is these people need a way to escape. If your job is to not pay daycare, i.e. take care of your kids,
Yeah.
You need a place to escape to. You need another way to make this happen. And so
Sure.
board gaming is a great way to get that done.
To unplug. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's massive.
Does that answer the how everywhere is board gaming?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it does. But I kind of see it happening more and more in Sweden as well. That it becomes more acceptable. It's okay to be a nerd and play board games. We're
Okay.
getting there. Yeah.
One of the $1 million ideas that I've seen somebody come up with in the last couple of years is in the Twin Cities, there are a couple of pubs that have board game vending machines.
No way.
Yeah, so you can go there and you can get yourself a pub style game and you buy it, and then you can go back and you drink beer and you play it. It's now
What?
yours.
What? You can find like is there like a locker so you can get a proper game from it?
No,
You
they're
put
more
money in
like they're like this size to this size games.
Oh yeah, but still. Wow.
Like cartographer is this size. You can
Yeah.
you can enjoy some cartographer and a pint,
Yeah.
right?
And yes, sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
and there's a huge pocket-sized game culture. Like people are looking for games in the go, things that fit in their library or in their pockets.
That's a brilliant idea. I mean, it's people sitting there spending time, want to do something. That's brilliant. I
Yeah,
need to bring that to Sweden.
you should do that for the Swedish airport. Like sell
Yeah.
your favorite small solo games
Yeah.
and
Play, have fun. Drop
Yeah.
the phone.
or
That's brilliant.
or have something during German tourist season to sell to those obnoxious.
Plug some headphones in. What to play?
Oh. All right, so that was one question, and we can really thank the expansion of board game culture to multiple events over the last few decades. Number one, we're looking at 1992 to Magic the Gathering. Then we should jump ahead to 2003 and look at Worlds of Warcraft online.
Yeah.
Now, historically speaking, Genders, World of Warcraft was a tabletop gaming. It was like a meteor crashed into tabletop games.
Yes. Yeah, it really was.
All tabletop gaming stopped, and everybody thought that that was the end of in-person gaming in 2003 because everybody spent a year in Azeroth. Everybody did. Everybody spent a year in Azeroth.
I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever do yourself the disservice and see how many hours played one of your characters was?
No, I did not.
Never do that to yourself.
One day I just shut it down and I just walked away.
Yeah, never do that. You're like, oh my God, I could have written a novel. I could have built a house. Okay, so, but what that ended up doing was create this entire environment of people that were excited about games and nerd culture. It became more acceptable. Okay.
Yeah.
Enter the MCU, the superhero movie craze, made nerdy things even more acceptable.
Yeah.
2008, the big watershed moment would then be Dungeons and Dragons allowing everybody to write something in the D20 system. That was if Worlds of Warcraft crushed the tabletop industry. So many Magic the Gathering had the CCG phrase. The next big industry-wide craziness was making things for D20. Okay. Then after that, that of course then led to another crash. But the genesis of that would then bring you the Critical Role people, and then Kickstarter. So
Yeah.
after that, those two things, boom. And now, after the dark times of 2020, gaming is everywhere. Everybody knows, everybody has a gamer friend, or their child is a gamer, or identifies as a gamer. It is, yeah.
No. Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Like you said, Kickstarter have opened so many doors. From the smallest
Crowdfunding.
publishers to the biggest, they've just opened doors, create games. Everybody can like try to make their own game.
The other thing is, weirdly enough, one of the biggest things that helped board gaming was the credit card industry and loan industry crash in and around 2004.
What?
Do you know why this is, Genders?
I don't know. They could hide their purchase on the card. I don't know.
Close to that. At one time, like bad American like financial institutions, like all this, like creating all that awful. But one of the industries that greatly benefited from that period of time was junk mail and the printing industry. So what ended up happening was presses from Germany or other places, but usually German presses, ended up here in the United States because they're one of the places that they make them. And those are tens of $1 million objects, these massive room-sized presses. Well, guess where all their presses ended up going? The ones that people had.
To board game manufacturers. Or...
In China. Like, all these ended up in China. Like, the presses that people were printing board games in particularly 2010, hi, Teresa, were presses that people were using for American junk mail in 2003 and 4.
What?
So this migration of presses from like places in the United States to other places in the world massively drove down the price of entry for manufacture for other places, and so that they could offer, plus cheap labor, they could offer board games inexpensively, which allowed the hobby to proliferate and allowed the Kickstarter to be successful.
There was a plan, a higher plan.
I hope that didn't bore you. That's sort of the weird, like these moments in like American and European history that generated board gaming. Like a modern board gaming would be nothing if it was not for the Euro style game, right?
No.
Like
exactly.
American style games had hit a certain plateau that had them locked in like Monopoly. But when people started thinking differently, yes. But that is another topic for another day, Judges. We should talk about like what makes a Euro style game when you come back, because I would love you to come back.
Yeah, I would love to come back. I have had a great time. I think you're really fun to talk to, and it's been so fun to be a part of this.
Oh, you are great. So we're in the wrap up. In the wrap up, I love when people promote what they've got coming up next, where people can find you, how they can take their relationship into your fandom more clearly.
Well, they can find me on TikTok, obviously, on Instagram, and on YouTube. On TikTok and Instagram, I mainly do short, informative or funny sketches about board games. And that can be anything, where I just show you what the game is about really briefly, or I just make some funny sketch. On YouTube, I do the proper how to play video. That's where I take you through like the setup, all the stages of the game, how to play it, and so on. And well, the name is Jenders Gaming. You can see it here in the back, maybe.
Yeah, it's great. I feel so adult. We successfully branded for this like, oh, look at all this branding going on.
Super professional.
Yeah. That's amazing. All right, so for folks who are looking for anything Fight in a Box, obviously, we're going to Origins next week. I'm doing my. Normally, I'm super self-deprecating, but this month on TikTok, I'm doing the my Pride series, where how I made board gaming a little more gay. That's been a journey. But otherwise, if folks haven't already, if they want to follow our crowdfund for our next game, it's post-apocalyptic family survival, Genders. It is.
Okay.
It is really dark. But since you've been in the same room with Cannibal Corpse, this game could be for you.
I can handle anything.
Otherwise, if you need a solo play and you want to take pity, that game is amazing, despite its rainbow flavors. And the last chance you'll be able to get it in the EU is probably during what is it? A late pledge. Late pledge is open, and late pledge will probably be the last time you'll be able to get it in Europe.
Okay, I will have to check it out then.
No, it's incredible. Board Game Co. And a number of other solo people absolutely loved it. And if we are in proximity of each other, I will let you play this game with me, and then you will understand why light up bases are the coolest thing ever. All right, final thoughts, Jenders.
Final thoughts is really just thank you for giving me a little window into the American board game dream and your life. And thank you so much for having me on your live. I've had a great time. Now I'm going to go to bed.
All right. I want to thank Uga Chaka for encouraging me to reach out to you. You are a fantastic guest, Jender. I think this is great. Before you go to your next convention, please let me know. I'll have questions ready for you.
Oh, definitely.
Otherwise, good luck in being the top media channel for board games in Sweden. Make sure that there's some sort of Thunderdome contest where you all fight each other with icicles. It'll be fantastic.
That's next weekend.
But for everybody else who tuned in, thank you so much for making time. Next week, we're off of the live because I will be in Columbus. We will be back at the end of the month with Jason Headley closing out Pride Month. So until then, everybody, stay safe and have fun.
Keep on spreading that board gaming love.